Our Steps to Success program, run through AVID, is a program where we are supporting the exposure to our sixth graders to college and career readiness. We invite anywhere between 25 and 30 students that have gone through the White Plains school system. Most of them have gone through the White Plains school system, and many of them are past participants in the AVID program. They come in and they speak to the students about their experience with the college process and the college journey. Some of them are already graduated from college and are on their career paths, and they are able to share that experience with the students as well, giving our current sixth graders the opportunity to understand what it takes to get to college and to attain their goals with their careers. The students participate in the classes with questions that we provide for them to be able to guide the conversations and the question and answer sessions within the classrooms. It's been a program that has been very successful. We are happy to have such a group of participants that are excited to come back to Eastview and give back to Eastview. And we're excited about the continuation of the program to come for our AVID school-wide events.
When I was in sixth grade, I always wanted to work with kids, so I always looked into like education or a psych major, and that's what I am right now.
So when I was in sixth grade, I had no idea what I wanted to do, but I was certain of one thing. I would never, ever be a teacher. And I did, and I went to college, and I wasn't a teacher. I worked in sales, and I worked in photography, and I did all sorts of different stuff, and then I was like, you know what? French teacher sounds like a good idea now, and then I became a teacher. So you don't know, it might change. You might be a bunch of different things when you grow up, okay? So what we're going to do today is, these guys are all currently in college, and they're just here. They volunteered their whole day, which was super generous, so that you can ask them questions and get some ideas of what it's like to go to college, the process of entering college, of what it's like being in college. So if you have any ideas off the top of your head, questions that you want to ask, you can ask those. If you want to ask a question but you're not sure what to ask, you can look on this sheet and come up with some questions from here, okay? Do you want to just start off by telling, why don't you tell where you go to school and how far it is away from home? A lot of people go to school far away, okay?
So I go to school at American University, which is in Washington, D.C., the capital, and it's about like 5.5 hours via train, which is usually how I get back and forth. But I stay obviously in my dorm there because I can't commute back and forth every day.
Yeah, some people go to college, live on campus, and some people live at home, and the college is close by, and they go back and forth every day.
I go to school in Philadelphia, it's a city in Pennsylvania. It's about 3 or 4 hours by car, and yeah, so I have the ability to come back if I want to.
What's living on campus like?
I like it. I think it's really fun. You're surrounded by people who are your age, and you don't have adult supervision, really. But it's very independent. You have your own room. You take care of yourself. So oftentimes you have a roommate or multiple roommates, and that can be an adjustment. But I think it's really cool because you can schedule yourself however you want, and you can decorate your room however you want, and everything is within a very close reach from you. So at least with my campus, I can walk wherever I need to go, or I can take the train, whatever. I like it. I think it's a fun change.
Yeah, and usually first year kids, you have a kind of standard, you live in a dorm with one other person, so it's a pretty small room, 2 beds. But then as you get older, you can usually live off campus or live in a more apartment style dorm with a kitchen and stuff. Yeah.
You also have a communal bathroom. I don't know about you guys, but at least at Stony Brook for your first year, you're all in a communal bathroom, which means at least in my bathroom, there's 4 showers, 4 toilets, and then 8 sinks, and then there's mirrors on 2 sides. You share that with the whole hall, basically like a hallway like this. Just imagine every room has 2 beds in it, and then 2 people live in it. So you're sharing it with about like 30 to 26 people. Really just depends on how big your hall is. It's also kind of like a
boys or just girls?
It depends. I know in some schools there's co-ed, but there's private bathrooms. For me, it's just girls on my floor, and then on the other side of the building, it's like boys. So you are separated. Boys have their bathrooms, girls have their bathrooms, and then there's gender-neutral bathrooms in the middle.
Jake, do you have a question?
Yeah, I forgot.
Okay.
How can you get to your classes without missing any classes?
So classes in college are kind of different than classes here, where like you start school at like 7:30 and you're done at 2:30. In college, you'll probably only have 1, 2, maybe 3 classes a day. So for me, like my first class is at 8:10 and it's over at like 9:20, and then I don't have class again until like 11:20. So you have a lot of time to walk to class, and for the most part, like I go to a school that has a campus, so all of my classes are like within 5 minutes of each other. So it's like a 5-minute walk to and from, and it's also, when you live on a dorm, like you're still a 5-minute walk from all of your classes. So you have a lot more time, and you can really schedule out your day and like know that like you have 2 hours in between class, so you have to leave wherever you are like 10 minutes before class, and you have so much time to do that.
And for me, one of my classes was even in my building, so I just woke up, walked down the hall, went to class, and went back to my room.
Most teachers will give you something called the syllabus in the beginning of the year or beginning of the semester, which will lay out every single class that you have for the semester. So instead of having the same class every day, you usually only have a class like 2 or 3 times a week. And so it will tell you what you're going to learn every class and what assignments you have to have complete or readings you have to be done before class starts the following session, which helps you like organize yourself and get like if you have to get an assignment done a couple of days ahead so you have more time.
So if you think of it, you get activity lists in here for a week. Sometimes it goes for 2 weeks, but this is for 15 weeks. You get them all at once, and you're responsible to get them done. You don't necessarily get any reminders or anything else to go with it. Okay, so some things become really important then, right? Organizing your time, staying on top of things. So now we give you a lot more support and help, but eventually you'll get there. Another question? Christian?
Did anything surprise you when you got to college or visited college?
Anything surprise you? Anything you didn't expect?
The food.
The food wasn't as good as you thought.
Definitely not.
It was definitely. Anybody else?
I was surprised that everyone on campus is your age. You're never going to see, the only adults I ever see on campus are the professors. And so you have endless possibilities of making tons of friends. So that's a big thing that surprised me.
Yeah, it's hard to get used to, kind of.
I was surprised about how much time I had during the day, because you don't have school like typically like middle school or high school. You might only have 1 class every day, so you have a lot of free time and a lot of time to do whatever you want after classes.
All right, how about the next table? Do you guys have a question? Nora?
What high school courses prepared you most for college?
I say, take AP classes if you can, advanced history classes. Also take some honors courses. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter about the grade that you get in there. Well, obviously try to do well. But, you do learn strategies like how to take really good notes and how to handle doing double the amount of coursework. And that's what college is really about.
So you learn strategies and habits, right? We've been talking a lot about habits. What does AP mean? Does anybody know? It means advanced placement. You can actually get credits for college in high school, right? And honors is a high level. So sometimes classes have levels.
Failed test in like high school, like will it affect like if you go to college, like will it affect you, or like?
I feel like it's good to have good grades. It's really important to have good grades. But sometimes things happen. And like, don't be so hard on yourself if you don't do good in a class or on a test, because it's not the end of the world. You're still going to get into school as long as you have like a good GPA. And as long as you like do community service, as long as you join clubs, as long as you do something else that can possibly get you into school. But don't be so hard on yourself. That doesn't mean that like, oh, I can fail every single test and I'll get into school. No, just things happen sometimes, but don't beat yourself up because you're going to get into school.
Yeah. Failing tests are it's an okay thing for that to happen. You don't want to beat yourself up about it. Failing leaves room for improvement, and the whole purpose of learning and going through elementary, middle, and high school is so that you can learn. And if you fail a test, that's okay, because that means you're still learning, and it's not a bad thing for that to happen.
And also identify what like your strengths are. Like if you're better at English, at math, and so now you know what you have to work a little harder. And like they mentioned, it's okay if you fail. If anything, another advice I can give you is very comfortable with, get comfortable with failing, because we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. So whenever someone tells you, listen, I'm perfect, I have all these big grades, and they try to make you feel uncomfortable because your grades are not as good as them, just know that all they did was study a little harder. So all you could do is study a little harder and you will get it. So don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah, it might take you more time than others, and that's okay. And colleges don't look through every single grade that you have starting from now to high school. They're not like, oh, well, he failed this quiz, I don't think he should get into this school. They're not going to do that.
When did you start preparing for college?
So I'm a former AVID student. So I actually started like right now at this age. AVID really prepares you. Wait, do you guys know what AVID is? Yeah.
Are there any AVID students in here?
No. Okay. So it's advanced via
Individual
determination. So it's a program that helps students prepare for college. They give you tools. You can go visit schools, and they definitely prepare you. So I was actually taking PSATs in 7th grade. So I started preparing since like now, but the real things, like the essay or the real SATs, everything was junior year high school.
You had a question?
No, I don't have the question anymore.
That's okay.
What grades would you want to aim for while you're in like high school and college?
What grades do you want to aim to get?
Yeah.
Well, always try your best,
Yeah.
And I'm going to be realistic, and like a lot of people say it, C's get degrees, but doesn't mean go get a C, but if you don't do great, C's still get degrees, There's one of my professors actually this semester told me a story. She was a very she was very young. She made a lot of mistakes. She didn't go to school. It took her a while to realize what she wanted to do with her life. And now she's a professor, a geography professor at SUNY Oneonta. She has her doctorate, whatever. And she graduated college with a 2.7. She's getting the same pay as the person who got a 4.0. So it's the same thing as long as you work hard.
What is your college essay about?
I think it could kind of range from certain things. For me, my college essay was explaining where I was starting all the way back to where you guys are to where I was in 12th grade, trying to figure out what I wanted to do and kind of just do my best as time went on. It can vary from that. It can talk about, your interests. It can really depend. But in the moment, you'll know what you want to write about.
We were talking about it in a different class actually. It's like an interview with the school that you're trying to apply for. So you have to tell them what makes you a good candidate, why they would want you at their school. So it shows your growth from, let's say, like now 6th grade to like how she said in 12th grade. So things you've learned along the way, things that like qualities about yourself that you would use to help the community, help their school, or just anything that would show them that you're a student that they want at their college.
And they have some prompts for you, like if you don't necessarily know where to start, they have some prompts for you to like kind of go off from and just see, like you could start from there.
What sports do you guys play?
I play lacrosse.
I played hockey growing up, but then I stopped when I got to school. But I'm like an amateur, like a fighter, like MMA fighter now. But that's not through the school, it's something else. But they do have the boxing club there, which I do.
I just play a lot of pickup basketball. I played baseball at high school, but like my whole life. But after like going to college, I kind of just like it was very like relieving to like pick up a new sport, I guess, and kind of like do something new for the first time in a while.
And also, like, another way that I made friends last year was they have, like, basketball courts all around the school. They have gyms and stuff, and me and my friends would just go there with the basketball and play with some people that were playing there, and we'd meet people that way. Or, like, my school offers, like, intramural sports, which is, like, it's not, like, serious, like, it's kind of just sports you go play on, like a Saturday or a Thursday night or something like that. And, like, we did, like, co-ed, so we did boys and girls, so we just had, like, we played flag football, and it was just a lot of fun. It was a good way to meet people.
So for sports teams, is there a way you sign up?
So to play a sport, you have to get like, you could just sign up, but you have to like, that's a walk-on, and that's when you are at the school already and decide to try out for the team. But then there's another way. It's to get recruited, which you should start a little earlier than when like you would normally apply for college. But to get recruited, you have to email the coach. You have to make a highlight tape of your highlights. Send them your grades. Tell them you're interested in the school. Tell them why you're interested in the school, and then you have to do that for however many schools you're interested in. And if they're interested in you, they'll usually email back, want you to come on a visit, and come look at their school.
Is the study work or homework hard?
It's difficult, obviously, because it's college work, obviously, but you kind of work your way up to that through all of high school, so it's not like a big shock, especially if you prepare yourself well in high school and take your classes seriously. I think it's just more of going to class. That's the most important. Going to class, taking good notes, and using your time wisely. Like I said, like studying and getting the homework done so you don't get caught behind and have to do a lot at the end of the semester. If you just stay disciplined and you do the work when it needs to be done and study and use your time wisely, it's really not too difficult.
It also depends on the major you're in. There's some majors that may have more workload than what you usually get. So it all depends on like business majors, engineering. Everything is different for everyone. Not everyone gets the same homework as you guys do.
Yeah.
Do I need to take a test to get into college?
So they have the tests that you guys might have heard of, the SATs, which is like the big test, and then there's the ACTs too, right? But I think during like COVID, the schools stopped requiring them. So there's some schools that don't require them, but it's always good to take the test. And with the test, there's really not a lot of pressure because you can take it multiple times until you get a score that you're happy with, and then submit those to the school. But some schools require them, and if there's a school you want to go to that requires them, then you would take them. And they're good to have either way because you can send them to the schools no matter what. But not all the schools require them. Yeah, purple.
How did you know what major to choose?
It really depends person to person. Like I said, I'm a film major, and that was just something that I was interested in since I was a little kid, and I always liked making movies and stuff like that. So for me, it was a pretty easy choice, and I took like film classes in high school. But I know for some people, they don't know until they don't even know when they're applying to college. Like, you can apply as undecided and then pick when you get there and take classes that way. But I know a really good strategy is to take a lot of different classes in high school, take a lot of electives, so you can kind of experiment and see what you really like. And even if you pick something and you find out you don't like it, when you get to college, you can change your major at any time. So.
What is everyone's major?
Pharmaceutical.
Did we go over
business.
this already?
Yeah.
Did we?
No, I don't think everybody did, right?
Yeah.
And
I'm a nursing major.
nursing,
I'm a psychology major.
Sports health.
sport.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between the SATs and the ACTs, and like which one's better for like what kinds of schools?
It's the same, basically the same thing, other than the ACT has like science section on it.
Yeah, I think SAT is like it's only English and math. I'm pretty
Yeah, it's
sure.
like
And then
the
sometimes an essay if you want to do
Yeah,
it too, if
it's
the
the
school
same thing,
requires
yeah.
it. I think the ACT is just a little different. I think science.
Science is one of them. I think it's no, I think it's just science.
It's just science. Yeah.
Time is the big difference.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
ACT is shorter.
Yeah.
Right.
The schools that you want to apply to will tell you which ones they require if they do.
Yeah.
So like, wait, should I take both or just?
It wouldn't hurt to take
I
both.
took both.
Yeah.
but I didn't submit. You don't have to submit as far as you got either.
It depends on your school, so I
Yeah.
would say, I think most of the time you're kind of looking at what schools you want to go to.
Yeah.
At the same time, you're like getting ready to take the SATs. So, and your school and your counselor will help you with all that stuff too. So it doesn't hurt to take both of them. I think that's what we did. But also just see what your school requires and if you need to do it, and then if you need to submit them that way. Yeah.
What language do you take?
Did you take a language or no?
Yeah, I took Spanish.
What in college?
Or I don't take language. in
I don't think
college.
you don't need to.
You don't need to.
No, you don't need to take. I mean, you could. I'm taking Italian next semester just because I took it for a couple years in high school, so I'm doing like a more advanced Italian class. But you don't. I don't know if you need a language, especially if you took it in high school.
Yeah.
Then I don't think that you need.
Not all schools required a language. Like my school does require a language, but I took AP Italian in high school, and I got a score of 4, so I can use that credit in college. So I technically don't have to take Italian next in college.
Yeah.
What was your biggest challenge in college?
I would say adjusting, like I said, like we talked about before, like adjusting to that new independence that you have and focusing on actually doing the work. Because when you get there's a lot of other outside things that you got new people, like you're meeting new friends, you got new like social activities going on outside. You're by yourself. I mean, it seems you're by yourself. You're like, oh, I can just stay home and play Xbox all day and no one's gonna tell me anything, right? Because I don't have my parents here. But then after you get past realizing that, you have to focus on the schoolwork, and that's probably the biggest thing is pushing all those outside distractions away and putting the responsibility on yourself to actually go to class, study hard, take the right notes, and actually get the work done on time. Yeah.
When the colleges are looking back at your grades, how far do they look back?
Freshman year.
But also they somewhat, I think, in 8th grade at least we had a Regents.
Yeah, we had a Regents in 8th grade. I don't think Regents are a thing anymore though.
Really? Are they not?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean,
Dating
for
myself.
language, we just have a consortium test. We have a flex exam, but we don't have a Regents for Italian. I'm not sure about the other classes.
I think it because my sister took.
Oh, then they're in, yeah. I think they were like paused because of COVID, and then reinstated.
But like regardless, you should still like do well. Like now, even if it doesn't technically like they don't look at it, it's still like
You also have to
will
pass.
set you up.
You also have to pass your Regents to graduate high school. So there's that.
Like, there's most people right now, once you enter high school, they're like, oh, I'm going to do good my junior, senior year, because that's what they're going to look at. But they usually look at through your full 4 years. So don't say that, oh, you're not going to do good freshman year because you're going to be in college in like 3 years from now. So it all depends. You should do good regardless all your years of school.
I would say set the habit now. Don't stress yourself too much, but do set the habit. Like study, do your work.
Yeah.
Was it hard to get used to living in a dorm and getting all the work done?
Yeah, like we were saying before, like it's a new thing. It's an uncomfortable thing at the beginning because you're kind of like, oh, I'm by myself. Like this is so different, so new. You're really independent. But living at the dorm it's a good experience because it's an experience that'll make you grow too, because you have to be responsible for yourself to make sure it's clean, because you don't have anyone else telling you to do that. You have to make sure it's clean yourself. You have to make sure you do your own laundry and all that stuff. And then on top of that, you have to get the work done. And in the dorm, like I know some people like going to the library. They don't like doing work in their dorm. They find it easier to just put the distractions away and go to the library and do their work, which you can do. But for me, I like doing work in my dorm. I can focus there, have my own setup, but it really depends person to person. You'll figure it out if you like doing the work in the dorm or if you want to go somewhere else. Or they even in their dorms they have study rooms too usually.
I wanted to be in the AVID program because it helped me with college and get ready, so I can pass on college and get a job. It can also help other students meet their goals. So if they wanted to have a certain job, AVID is there for them so they can get organized.
AVID helps us to become organized with note-taking and our binder. Since the binder has 3 rings, we're supposed to put all our papers and put each paper in a certain folder, and it helps us stay advanced and ahead.
I'm Farhad Razak, AVID elective teacher at Eastview. These are some of my former students, a part of the AVID program. They started this journey with me back in 6th grade. How many years ago now? 6. Or you 8 years ago, right? 7. It's been a while. It's been a long time. And now they're back. They're enrolled in college, and they volunteered their time to come meet with some of the 6th grade students here at Eastview.
I didn't learn about the program until the ending of, I think, my 5th grade. My 5th grade teacher was the one that recommended me into the program, and Mr. Razak interviewed me, and I was selected.
Same thing for me. I knew nothing about the program. I was recommended by one of my teachers, and then once I saw that I was in a classroom with like 25 other minority students like me who had a dream of going to college, I knew that I had to be a part of it.
Yeah, same thing. I think that I was introduced to the program in like 5th grade, and then I was interviewed and I was in the class, and I liked taking part in the opportunities that the class gave me, and here I am in college like 8 years later.
I got like an email asking, and I volunteered for it because they helped me with so much. Like I feel like I've grown so much in this district and like this community, and I just wanted to give back to all the students, just to give them a little insight on college.
Evelyn told me about it. I had no clue that today was going to happen, but I knew I had to come back, and I knew I had to be a part of this day.
Mr. Zach asked me to come back, and I was like, sure. So I'm happy to be here and happy to share my experiences as I've grown up through this district, and now that I'm in college, I feel like I've learned a lot. The skills and the strategies I learned have helped me so much through high school and through now college. I learned a lot about being organized, and that has become such a big part of what I've done in college. I pride myself in staying organized, and as hard as it is, I take the skills that I learned from the AVID program and I've applied them to being like the best that I can be.
Not only did I learn strategies, but also my mother never had the opportunity to finish college. My dad never had the opportunity to go, but this program, like, first generation students have the highest dropout rate, but the skills I learned here, I know that I can be successful in college.
Same, my parents are both immigrants, so they never had the chance to get a higher education, and it was just nice seeing that I will be able to do that. So the skill that I learned the most was probably organization. It makes me feel good, so I try to keep my room organized, now that I'm in college living by myself. But our binder checks were big here in 6th grade. I remember one of the binders just ripped completely, and all the folders and papers just fell into the floor, and that was just really we need to stay on our things, especially now in college that they don't remind us. So that was really something that I took into college from AVID.